Hi, welcome to the last part of the Reboot Your Skill Automation Challenge. So in the previous videos, we have covered the first and the second part, which is downloading the email attachments from the Outlook, reading the data from Excel file and putting the data which we read from the file into the Acme system, reading the discounts back and writing these values back to the Excel file. And now in this video, we are going to correct a few of the flaws that our automation had. And then we'll be publishing the project to the orchestrator and we'll be running it through the assistant. So these two is what we are going to cover in this video. So the problem in our automation was, while we were saving the Excel file as PDF, we did not mention the correct path as well as the file name. So to correct that, first thing let's do is remove the extension name from the file name, right? So for that, we will be using an activity which comes under the manipulating the text. So text to left, right, is what we are going to use. So before I save it, I want to correct the file name first, right? I want to break the file name so that I get the name as a separate and the extension as the another separate value, right? So current file name is what I want to change or manipulate. My separator is a dot, right? So, right, you have the file name dot extension. So when you have that file name, which is invoice1.xlsx, we only want invoice1, right? And then rename it as invoice1.pdf. So you only want the invoice1, not the xlsx. So save text to left. It means the invoice1. We are going to save it as create variable and say file name only and say okay. Now the text to the right, it means after the dot, which is the extension of your Excel file. So create variable and save it as the file extension and press OK. Now in our automation, we only want the file name. We do not need the extension. Okay, so to save the file, we have corrected the extension part. This XLSX will not be coming, right? Next thing is we do not want to save them in the project folder. We want to save them in a separate folder, which is at the desktop location and here, right? So what we have to do is we want to browse first. Now when you browse, go to the folder where you want to save. Correct. Now this becomes your path. So I've taken the untitled by default because we are going to edit it now. Click on the plus button and say text. So every time you do not want your file to be saved with the name as untitled.pdf, you want to save it as file name only, right? Which is invoice1.pdf. In the next iteration, this will give you invoice2, that is invoice2 you want to do, then .pdf. We have already eliminated the extension so that we can put .pdf. So make sure you put the .pdf as well. So just remove this part and then click on the plus button and say use variable, which is file name only. So understood? That gives your complete path of your PDF file. This is your folder path. This becomes your file name that you just now got from here. .pdf extension is what you have to put explicitly. Then say save. Done. We have edited the name of the file so that we can only get the name and not the extension. Using that name, we are saving it with a .pdf extension. Right, done. Let me remove these files which we already had. Okay, this is your project folder, right? It is different from something in the desktop folder where we are just saving all the files which our automation is running and downloading and manipulating at a separate location. Right, now once you're done with all of this, you want to send these files to a particular sender, right? So, which means we want to do something with the Outlook. So let's expand this, and I'll put this part inside the Outlook itself so that I can reuse this particular resource, right? If it is outside this, I have to take one more Outlook resource and then again use the send email activity. But since we already have connected, we just put the other resources inside it. And now we are good to go, and we will use the send email activity. And I put it after this. Now you can understand, right? We are inside this scope only. So I do not have to mention which email account I have to use again. It has already taken the Outlook account. To whom we want to send, I'll just mention my name. Oh, sorry, my email address. Done. And press save. Subject line will just mention as invoices exist and press save, right? In the body part, in the text, since we are not creating any tables in the body, so we can skip the HTML. We are not sending the Word document as well. So we'll stick to the text as the body. Click on the plus button and say text. And simply say, hi, please find attach all PDFs and then save. Now you can either attach the files or all the files in a folder. So we'll choose a folder. Uncheck this because we want to send the email, do not want to save it as the draft. Then browse where your files would be that you want to send. So it is here to PDF invoices. So this will contain all your PDF files which you want to send. So that we are also sending the emails once the processing is done. One thing that we actually missed is in the earlier automation, I remember, is that we also had to write the signatures at the cell number A31. So let's also finish it so that we have nothing pending. Okay. We are reading the cell here. Then we are writing all of the data here. And then we are saving it. So before it, right? And this is where we are writing the client code. After the client code, then we have to enter the signature. So I'll use the write cell activity again. And we can't use the invoice one because the path is dynamic. So I'll have to choose the template to mention. And I'll go back to StudioX. What to write is, we'll mention later, but where to write, let's indicate it first. Name and email address, cell number A31. Done. And what to write, click on plus button and say text. Say Nidhi. just sometimes I'm putting and press save. So we have actually completed our whole automation. It may look a little complex, but once you do the hands-on, it becomes very easy to understand, right? You can see we are reading the emails, downloading the attachments. For each attachment, we are opening the attachment, which is an Excel file, reading the data from that file using the Excel file resource, reading it, then putting it in the UI page, and then reading that value back and writing it again to the Excel file, and then finally writing the signature back to the Excel. Then we are trimming the file name, separating the extension and the file name. Once we get the file name, we are saving it as that Excel file with the PDF extension, and then sending all of those PDFs to the user. Right? That's all what we have achieved in this automation. Let me close all the files and run the automation again. I'll delete all these invoices as well. Nothing is there also. And this is your project folder. Okay. Now we are good to run it. So since I have the message boxes in my automation to make sure which subject line the bot is reading, so it will just pop up 3 to 4 times for each email that it is processing. These are the subject lines. Now it will open the file, enter the code, click button, check the discount and write back to the Excel and close the Excel. It will be done for each file in that folder. That was real quick. Let's see if we got the Excel files. We have all the 4 Excel files here. In the PDF, we have all the PDFs with the correct name, and let's just open one of the PDFs. So we can see it here. Okay. So the client discount is what it has entered successfully, which is 100. And the name and the signature is already there in the PDF. So the run was successful, right? And let's also check our email if we have received, right? So we've got the email, invoices processed, and with all the 4 attachments as the PDFs, right? So this is done. We have covered, I guess, email automation, Excel automation, file and folder, as well as UI automation. So it has covered a huge part of the RPA course actually. It will have certain sub scenarios, how to read multiple rows of an Excel file, right? So all of these is what now you can try it by yourself.